Welcome to Shop Talks. Shop Talks is a presentation of the In Kitchen, which is online, inkitchen.com, free articles. And we have a YouTube channel with over 200 videos. This one will be up there eventually as well. Thank you for coming. We got sponsors here you can see on the sides. We'll thank them. And got my co-presenter here, Stan from T-Shirt Side Hustle. We got Jabir and Marc from Villeside Printing in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Villeside Customs, Rick.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
All right. We're going to talk about things that keep the mics off until you're talking. Villeside Custom. So we're going to talk a little bit about, you've been in business like 3 years, right? No.
Plus years.
They've been in business for a while now, and they're going to share some of their experiences, the ups and downs. I think that a lot of people getting into it, all these booths will tell you all the ups. They don't always tell you the downs. And, you know, it's a great business, but you should go into it with your eyes wide open, yeah?
I agree.
Actually, tell us the history of the company a little bit.
You want to start? Villeside Customs started about 10 plus years ago, about 2012. At that point, we were running a laptop. We had a vinyl plotter. We were mainly doing vinyl heat transfer at that point. As the years progressed, I was outsourcing my embroidery and screen printing to a local guy. And as time kind of grew, I had an opportunity to actually own that shop. I know there's a lot of in between, but I'll let Marc fill in as well, and I'll help him do that as well. But through my journey, I honestly learned that being persistent, being consistent helped me, because a lot of my friends, the people, my peers, they would say, "Hey, Jabir, you only do T-shirts." And at that moment, I'm like, man, I felt bad, because I'm like, I am really doing T-shirts, but I found my mission. My mission was actually to connect with people like you. Just regular people that come into my door and they say, "Hey, Jabir, I need a custom shirt for a baby shower. I need a custom shirt for a funeral. I need a custom shirt for my family reunion." So as time grew, those orders increased. And the opportunity for me to acquire the business that we are in now, it came to be. The guy was playing with me for 2-3 years consecutively. He's like, "Hey, Jabir, I want you to own the business." And I was like, "I don't believe you." Marc was there. I was like, "Marc, I think this guy really trying to sell us the business." The year of the pandemic, 2021, in April, I'll never forget the day, we took the chance. We acquired the business, but as you know, after that, the world shut down. So it was...
Your timing was great.
It was great. Craziness.
Before you go too far, how did you establish that first contract and relationship? I think that's something that a lot of us who get started, we don't really value as much. So you had a printer. How did you form that relationship? How did you negotiate price, and how did you establish that before you even got into acquiring the business?
So the prices were I thought they were very cheap. The guy would legit take care of me in terms of whether it's a 1-2 color print. A lot of the jobs I was doing were very simple. I was reaching the minimum of 24 items, so he would take care of me on that end. He also actually put me onto AlphaBroder, SNS. I didn't know about those companies before I met him. And in the very beginning, he was actually ordering the stuff for me, and then I would just drop ship it to his shop, and he'll run the jobs for me. So to build a relationship, it's difficult to deal with screen printers in general, but they know it all.
You looking at me?
They know it all in a good way. They have the experience. They've been doing it. I'm coming in naive. I don't know anything about colors and mesh count, or I don't know anything. I'm just saying, "Can you do this job for me, please?" And that's kind of how it was executed.
Were you guys partners from the start, or no? When did that happen?
So when it came to the partnership, I met Jabir running my own streetwear brand. The brand was called PAP Clothing, and it was based out in Boston. A friend of mine's referred me to Jabir to get like some custom pieces made, and I ended up going there. He made the custom pieces with the vinyl cutter, and then from there it clicked, and then we partnered up. And within the partnership, what we ended up doing was building a bond. We both were Haitian, Black, African Americans, and then like we just communicated the same language. We spoke the same language, and once we started doing jobs, we seen the opportunity, and then we just took it step by step. We didn't overachieve, and then we didn't like overstep boundaries. So we made sure we consistently continued learning. We went through the tough times and the good times, and we just slowly progressed. And till this day, we're slowly progressing. So it's one of those things like there's a lot to learn, and it's not an overnight success. And it's gonna be tough times, hard times, easy times, returns, unhappy customers, happy customers, great Google reviews, hopefully no bad Google reviews. So it's like endless like repetition on a daily basis. So my skill set was like the management, the production, and like we just put it all together and we make it work. And what me and Jabir always promoted is we have the same goal. So let's stay focused. Usually when you have partnerships, sometimes it could like dismantle because of different mindsets. So with moments like that, we like come together and like we're like, all right, which one makes sense, and then we just pull the trigger. We never put our pride in front of us. So even if I'm not okay with it, he gets the win for this one play or whatever the case is. So I mean, it's one of those things like that's allowed us to grow. And then if I'm not okay with it too, instead of like saying I'm not okay with it, I'm gonna walk away, I figure out a way to re-communicate my point so I could get what I want, if that's the case. And sometimes he's right, sometimes.
So, where is the business now? You guys acquired the shop in 2020, 2021 during the pandemic. Where are you guys at now, size-wise, so people can understand how big the business is?
So right now we have two locations. The first location where we started is a small retail shop where we do, we have a showroom, we have retail options to buy. Our second location is our warehouse location. It's our main production facility. We have two autos, and we're running a 6-head in Meriden. And we also do wide format printing, things like this, like stickers, banners, magnets. And also we still offer vinyl heat transfer, that whole the process that we started, we still offer those services as well. And it's in Somerville, Massachusetts.
How's it changed coming from starting with the vinyl cutter, getting into like the autos? How has the business changed? Where's most of the work coming from? About 80 to 90% of the work is coming from screen printing, t-shirts primarily. Then you have, we still do some of the custom work, but not too much, just because I know the nature of, sometimes the customer doesn't understand like what it actually takes to produce this shirt. They just like me in the beginning, I just want the shirt. So some customers come to me that way, but for us, we believe in being very transparent in our process. So we say, hey, this is what it's gonna take to accomplish this, and this is the price. Most of the time I mention the price, and like, that's kind of expensive. But I'm like, well, you gotta understand what I'm giving you. First, I'm giving you quality, and I'm giving you my time. And it's gonna be done way before your deadline. So we believe in fast turnaround times, transparency, and great customer service. So if a customer comes into our door, whether they got one shirt, 20 shirts, 100 shirts, 1,000 shirts, we're actually gonna be there in the process, walk them through it, and actually deliver, whether it's them bringing their van and we helping them load their truck, or delivering the stuff to them, we do that as well.
And the biggest thing he said was transparency. That's one thing that's allowed us to be successful. When there's a problem, the customer kind of should know. because sometimes they want the shirt for Saturday because it's easier for them, but they'll be willing to get it on Sunday, or they need it for Monday by noon. So in communicating with the customer, you're able to get as much information as you can by just asking and not putting any pressure on yourself, because sometimes the pressure can make you go crazy and you don't want to go crazy, so you don't make mistakes or any errors that you can't fix. Because one thing I call the vinyl industry for us is doctoring. So sometimes there's errors that you could legit fix by just making one or two moves. I'm not going to tell everything, but basically you make some magic happen and the customer will never know. And they take pictures in front of the shirts, family reunion shirts, and they look amazing in the picture. And you're like, that one shirt though, whatever the case may be, but they're extremely satisfied with it. So doctoring is something that, while not promoted, it is a thing and it works. So don't disregard doctoring.
I see a shop talk coming out. Doctoring 101.
So going back to I want to get into some of the current things that you guys are, challenges you guys are facing or in the growth or through that process, but I want to go back to the beginning. What were some of the, if each of you could share a challenge that you guys faced and kind of how you guys overcame those challenges when you guys first got started, whether that's after acquiring a business and not knowing how to screen print or to run some of this equipment or anything like that?
I mean, thank God I'm a quick learner. But an early thing that happened to me was taxes. I was running my business as a DBA, as Villeside Clothing at the time, but it was under my Social Security. So nobody told me, hey, Jabir, you need an EIN number, and things like this, or you need to put everything under one basket where it protects you in the long run. After a year, you got to do your taxes. I thought doing your personal taxes was first. So I did my personal, then my business. But it's actually all the opposite. You got to do your business taxes first, then your personal. So throughout that, that hurt me because that was about 10K, negative 10K. So learn from that mistake.
And pay your taxes. I won't say how I found that out.
How did you?
Yeah, it's one of those things. When it came to the crazy thing with the taxes, there's a lot of learning that needs to take place from the business side and the production side. So you're continuously learning, and what happens is that it's all taking stages. And then in information, if you ask, you'll get information. And then also, one thing that we did was a lot of research. He walks around. Actually, we're next to Stan Banks. He's a celebrity, by the way, just in case y'all didn't know. But at the early stages, I watched a lot of YouTube. I gave credit to Printavo, to Stan, to even In Kitchen, Shop Talk.
Even In Kitchen, come on. It's a love, man.
And I just kept watching and feeding my brain information on top of information. So what happened is, as you continue grasping the information, then you find individuals and you send a DM, a personal DM. Hey, I have a question. What's your thoughts? Do you want to visit my shop? I did a lot of silent shop visiting in the neighborhood because these are regular people that you could talk to. So one thing is that I did the past 4 years, he did it mainly, but I have the skill too. I built a network. So I have people who I can go to and rely on, and they help me, I help them, and it works. Now, don't get it twisted. There's people who are in it for money and only money, and they're not good. You gotta get rid of them as soon as possible. We had, when we first acquired the shop, we had a contract account, and the person was attacking and attacking and attacking. After the first year, I was like, screen printing isn't for me. And then we got rid of him. I got the okay, because he's my business partner, and he was like, yeah, do what you got to do. Got rid of him, and ever since then, we've been just flourishing and flourishing, because we basically readjusted what we're doing. So it's kind of one of those things. We'll forever be doing that. And then I guess when you have a suite, like space, you take a break, but you'll forever be working on your business as a business owner. That's one thing that is forever a thing. Right now, we're in the production, manager, and marketing section of the journey or the chapter. So you're forever working on it, and building a team around you makes a big difference and makes it way easier. Even though your team can make you go crazy also, you still got to respect them. They're humans. As long as they're comfortable, they'll take care of you. You take care of them. So, yeah.
Seems like you had like a slow growth. You mentioned it earlier. A lot of people seem to like go too fast. The talk we had 11, he I think grew kind of fast. He didn't have much hair left. He kind of tore it out, I think. That's what he was saying. Is that something that you just lucked on, or did you have some mentors, or how did you know to not take it too fast?
I don't know if it was since I was young. I don't know. I like walking. I don't like running, because running you could fall. So in reality, like anything I do, I'm in no rush. What's mine will be mine. So it's kind of one of those things like, ever since we've been doing it, the biggest thing I always told him is, let's not purchase a whole bunch of equipment. Let's not purchase things we don't need. Let's take it step by step and understand the finances. Let's make sure every purchase counts, so it's valuable. And that's what we're doing. That's why we've been in the embroidery game, but we just got our embroidery machine a couple months ago. So it's like, in doing that, I totally understand embroidery. I probably could have got an embroidery machine years ago, but would I have been ready for it? Probably not. Am I still ready for it right now? Probably not, but I will be. So it's walking instead of running, because if I ran, I would have a DTF machine, I would have 7 Sportsmen, I don't know what I'll have, but it won't make sense, and then that's when you crash faster. So I rather walking, and if you technically climax business-wise, it's your resource, it's your network. You just got to go say, hey, you're bigger than me. How can you help me? And as long as everything sounds right, let's make something work. Because everything doesn't have to be done by you and only you. So that's how I move.
Yeah, I think we've met at a few places out and about. I think one of the things that to emphasize is taking your education and then going further, right? You start on YouTube. There's other resources, other places where you can go and network with professionals. And I think that's one of the things that I know they value, because we had these conversations, but we can't emphasize it enough. You know, even me being on YouTube, I still feel like there's a certain point where people have to go, and you got to be in the rooms. You got to go visit shops. People come visit you, and that network can help you grow. So what are some of the things that you guys are doing marketing-wise in your area that are working for you? I heard you mention Google reviews earlier, but what are some of the marketing things that are working well that other people could probably implement in their area in order to kind of help grow their business?
Right now, we're doing a lot of Facebook and Instagram ads. Those are really working really well. So we set up a landing page where it's very self-explanatory for the customer. Once they put up that, quote button, they press that link, it pops up. You put all your information there, and then once we receive that information, it's very important to call that customer, because you got to vet that customer. You don't know if it's if it's a good customer, a bad customer, but you have the opportunity, because that person at least took the time to click the quote button. Now you call them, you vet them out, and then you go through the process with them, your process.
And I believe it's trial and error. So what works for me might not work for you. I might be successful. I hear a lot of people are successful on TikTok. I'm not. So it's kind of one of those things, like, we're successful on Facebook, we're successful on Instagram, we're successful with communicating with the local community. We make sure that we personally give every customer a flyer. We give them stickers. So we do certain things that work for us that might not work for someone else. So it's basically trial and error. And once you see something working, you kind of feed the beast. So it's like, okay, a lot of people on Facebook are writing, community groups, are in this community group and responsive. Maybe I might have to use that. Okay, a lot of people on this Discord channel are on here and actually potential customers. I might have to do that. It's figuring out your niche and then targeting it as much as possible. So with that being said, marketing is a tricky beast, but what works for one company might not work for another for whatever reason, and it becomes one of those things where you got to technically, you could play and do podcasts and you could make cool commercials, but it might not work for you. Then it'll just become a hobby as part of your business, and it'll be part of your marketing. But once you figure out what works for you, stick to it and entertain, even if it's boring. I mean, Facebook ads and stuff, it's boring to me, but it works, you know.
There's so many. I'm about to order shirts from you. They're coming up in my feed all the time. I can't decide to order shirts or kill you. I'm not sure which.
So speaking to challenges again, what challenges are you guys facing? Something recent that you guys had to work through? Are you guys implementing AI into your business? Employees? How do you manage kind of like that stuff?
Right now, employees is one of the hard things that when COVID hit, I don't know if remote work was like the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. I can't even call it yet. I know that remotely, I'm not successful at it with like staffing because I need to be hands-on as a manager and everything. So now I'm getting employees, but I'm not getting the best employees. So it's kind of one of those things like staffing is an issue, but all you could do is keep, keep strategizing on how to get better employees. Right now, we're thinking about like building a workshop. We're copying the Home Depot model and building a workshop for printing. So if our employees at the workshop, we'll be able to vet them and maybe they'll come work with us. So it's just same thing, trial and error, because what happens is when you get an employee and they're good, you got to figure out how to keep them. But when they're not good, you got to get rid of them as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Don't waste no time. Don't be sad. Like, because the thing is, people who want to work will come and give you what they want. It'll show. And like a lot of people, I don't know. I can't call it. But I will say that if you see someone and you see that they're dedicated, figure out how to help them help you. So when it comes to employees, it's a tricky beast, but it's a thing. That's one of the challenges that we have right now that's like smacking me around, us. Yeah.
I can add, I would say I've been working on trying to build a sales team. What that means, I don't know yet. But I'm currently the salesperson. So I'm taking the calls, I'm sending the emails out, I'm setting up the invoices. So it's like I've been trying to build the position up. I have it on Google Docs. I have all the requirements. I have everything that I want. But now it's finding that person that fits that criteria. That's the hardest part. Because you don't want to bring somebody in to your home, right, where they're not speaking your same language. So sometimes a salesperson, they think, oh, it's just I sell, that's it. And then I pass it on to the production manager. There's more to it. So for us, we're very interactive with our customers. Every single customer of ours, we want to get to know them, who they are, where are they from, what kind of sandwich do they like. You know what I'm saying? These simple things we try to figure out, because that's like a long-lasting bond you'll have with that person forever.
We're a team too. So what's next? Like, I was going to ask this before. Do you have like goals? Does that like guide you? Do you have some place you want to be in a certain number of years, that kind of thing? Certain size company, certain, what do you want the business to look like in 5 years kind of thing? Do you have that?
We did at one point, but we got to be realistic with ourselves. And no, we did. The thing is, you could paint a pretty picture. You could do that all day. And what happens is, if we create all those goals and we're not checking them, it just changes your whole picture. So we were supposed to have a podcast. We were supposed to be YouTube stars. I don't know. You know what I mean? None of it's happening. So realistically, it's just taking it a day at a time and making sure that you progress at a gradual pace that makes sense. So obviously, right now the goal is making sure the employees are paid, making sure that we're getting customers, making sure the customers' items are produced correctly, making sure the customers are happy and leaving me Google reviews because I put value on that because it's leading to sales. And when a customer walks in and they're like, oh, I just found you on Google and the reviews was good, that means something. So something's working. Let's figure that out. So right now, I mean, for when it comes to like going and getting more equipment and stuff like that, I think moments like that will happen if it's supposed to happen. And I do want to do those things, but I also know it's a whole different beast that I basically gained some muscle in the gym first. So basically that's the next 5 years. The goal is gradual growth on a yearly basis. And then we add pieces as needed, whether it's a new contract or a sales team that's going to actually allow us to reach a certain revenue to where now we're purchasing new equipment because we have to versus not because we want to. So, I mean, creating those goals are great, but at the stage that you're at, just grow yearly.
You mentioned that both of you are part of the Haitian American community in Boston. I know, like a political activist, I was always a little leery about whether I wanted to use that or not use that. Is that like an asset or something you steer towards it or away from it, or is it?
That's a great question. You can answer.
I think for me, I respect and love my culture, so I do put that in the forefront, but I don't make that like the deal breaker. So it's one of those things where I don't want somebody to come in and say, oh, he's Haitian American, we should do business with him. You know what I mean? But actually, I just want them to come and say, hey, I want to do business with Jabir. He holds a reputable Villeside Customs company. This is what they offer. So that's my point of view. And I wanted to add.
I think it's what a lot of people struggle with, whether you're, using it and proud of it, or you're like, yeah, I don't really want to go there. I want to go on some other merits. It's a hard question, I think, for everyone.
Yeah.
And the answer behind that for me, I'm like, it's 50-50. So it's kind of one of those things like, at the end of the day, I'm human. If a customer walks in and they can relate to me because I'm black, I'm not mad at that. But when it comes to the world's changing. The world's changing daily. It's just choice. So at this point, it's kind of one of those things. I'm taking care of any customer who needs help. But if someone can relate to me, that's even better. Do I go and create a campaign around it? No. But in the same instance, if properly presented, I'm going to let the world know, hey, I'm a black screen printer. But in the same instance, there's programs that exist. There's opportunities that exist for black screen printers. So it has its value. Now, I remember when we first started, we were back and forth with that type of topic where it's like, we received emails for customers wanting to purchase during COVID because of us being black. And we were like second guessing the concept. It felt different, but we took it in stride and we closed them orders, we fulfilled the orders, and now we still have long-time clients. So don't fight the battle of it. If anything, just partake and see where it takes you.
Yeah, sometimes people try to take advantage of it. I remember like some famous activist's son, we did some work, he didn't pay us, and then it was like, took up a small clearance course. It's like, you really doing that? Yeah, I'm really doing that. You didn't pay me. Like, you know what I mean? He thought somehow, because we're brothers on some other level, that he wasn't gonna have to pay. So it can cut both ways, that's for sure.
I got one more question before we open it up to the audience. So if you have a question, get it ready. We're going to send a mic around that you can ask. But earlier you guys talked about like large format printing. And as a person who kind of got into t-shirts, I was selling business cards, banners, all of that kind of stuff before. I would do like drop shipping, different things. I think it's something that's so closely related and that can add revenue into your business. Like, how is that piece of your business, how's that going? How's it working out, and how do you feel like it fits in?
It fits really well because you'll have some customers, they'll come in, they'll say, I need business cards, or I need stickers, or I need banners. What you can do is you can upsell them, right? So you could be like, you also do T-shirts, we also do hats, we also do, so you're able to offer them more services. So yeah, it's a good like addition to it, because it may be tedious at times to create stickers and go through the process, but once you hone in the process, you figure it out, it's actually worth it.
You got any questions in the audience?
Hi, great talk, y'all. I was just wondering how often y'all connect with other businesses in the community, like maybe other embroidery or printing shops, and how do you leverage the community that you have with the people in your region? And like, do you feel like there's a lot of competition, or do you lean into the community aspect of it? Like maybe if you don't have a certain design, maybe do you send them to someone else, or do you like hoard the customers, if that makes sense? Like how do you work with community in that region?
So both of these guys, we've asked them. I've actually visited his shop. It's really big. And for me, it's like huge.
You saying that means a lot.
So for us, we do like, we keep it community based, but we do go to visit other shops, and we're very transparent. Like again, we're not here to come and steal their customers. We're just legit here to learn. So we do.
In the back here, Peter, QRSTs, and he had started these get-togethers of the whole region, people from New Hampshire down to Connecticut even, I think, and that's where we met. And so we get together, we share information on what customers should be shown the door, and what employees to avoid, and tips to each other, and we all do things better. Like Peter's got a great DTG business for contract. We can do bigger prints than they can do, so we do that for them. So we don't do hand printing, so maybe send, or vinyl, might send somebody to them. So, you can't do everything, and you got to have allies.
And when it comes to visiting other locations, some people are more receptive than others. I've gone to what I do, right? Whenever I go on a trip or something like that, sometimes I'll visit a print shop randomly. So I was just I forgot where I was, Atlantic City. I was in Atlantic City and I visited a print shop. I just Google print shop, whichever one looks decent, I'll go over there. And when I got in there, they weren't as receptive to seeing me there. They just wanted to sell me something. And it's okay. I just had a conversation. I showed them who I was, and then I went about my business and moved on with life. But then I've gone to other shops. Like I remember I was in New Jersey at Camden, New Jersey, I think. I found a shop. The person was completely respectful, showed me the shop, walked around. I went to Miami and I seen them messing with all those Miami colors, because Miami has like 20 colors for like a design, and I was like, that's crazy. So it just depends. You'll go to shops, some people will be receptive, sometimes they'll be busy. It varies, but you just pay a visit and introduce yourself.
I think if to answer it, you should do as much as you possibly can, right? These shows are just the start. These guys are members of Shirt Lab. You got the conference by Printavo. What's the name of that one?
Print Hustlers?
Yeah, we got the Print Hustlers Conference. We recently just started a Black Printers Network. There's a female, the Print Girl Mafia. So there's a lot of resources out here of people that get together on a regular basis, whether they're meeting via Zoom monthly. They're doing little small happy hours at the events, shirt show at those events. So you can just be in a room with other printers. And what you will find is that more times than not, once you're in these communities, they're super receptive. They'll go out of their way to help you, to share information with you, to even connect you with the right person, whether that's a sales rep, whether that's something that could solve a problem for you. So depending on where you are in your business, that's kind of where you want to go. I would go sit in those rooms and be a part of the conversation. And you should do it as much as you possibly can. there's probably 4 conferences a year that aren't shows, where it's purely exchange of information, and they'll have great presenters, but you get the most value, in my opinion, by the people sitting in the room next to you, because you want to learn about fulfillment, and this shop is doing fulfillment really well. You can go ask that person questions, and then after that, you can pop up at their shop, plan something out. I think one of our goals this year is to network through the Black Printers Network at one of the larger shops from one of the members this year. So these are just some of the things that you can take part in and find resources depending on where you want to go in your business. We had a question right here in the green hat.
Hi. You said you do a lot of custom orders. What apps are great apps to upload custom orders?
As far as specifically, you meaning like an app to put on your website to add? I think there's pretty much only one that is being used the most. I think it's called like Integro or something like that, which is integrated into Shopify. I err on the side, I'm pretty sure that they'll second. I err on the side to get a quote because our business is so hands-on. And then most people that are coming to your website don't really have the expertise, and at least the customer that I want, right? There's a ton of people who can create designs in Canva today and like put some stuff together, but ideally they're probably not the customers that we want because they may know too much, and then the expectations of what they are trying to get out of it at the price they're trying to get out of it doesn't make sense. And so the customer that we would ideally want to have don't have an idea really of how to put together artwork. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have gotten quotes from like Custom Ink or the photo. Hey, I want this on the shirt. You look at it, it's not that good, but we take that, and then that's an opportunity for me to like, all right, I see what you're going for, and I'll try to make it more visual if I'm going to actually do the job.
For us, a little bit of what Stan Banks was saying, for us, we actually tell the customer we need those files in a vector or PDF, preferably. If they can't, then we have to charge them. You know what I'm saying? So we want that file to be pretty much print ready, because it's one less thing we have to worry about. There are situations where you have to basically do the design for them, but you just charge them.
The price, they don't want to pay the price. They're like, oh, it's too expensive. Why it's so much? But it's taking me 3 hours to do a design, and then I'll do 3 designs, and then they don't like it. Then I have to go back to the drawing board. It's a lot.
We all start there. To just be honest, we all start there. I went through the point where designing logos, you give them 3-4 options, then they pick the ugliest one, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So then I just started giving them one, and I'll change it if they don't like it. But I think I was actually having this conversation a little bit earlier with 2 guys that were here. If you're doing they were doing sublimation, so I was like, everything that you've done in the past becomes a template, and then they can select the template, and then you customize it out from there. If you can have like a groundwork. What I started to do with artwork is like, I need inspiration. Tell me, like, you go out on Google, you go out on Pinterest, and you find what you like. The teachers is big. It's like, oh, well, we got something coming up this year. I'm like, well, what's the theme? We don't know the theme. Well, you got to figure out the theme, because this can go so many, and it's your school. I'm not in the school. I'm not working with the students. But what you can do is have them send you inspiration. And I'm really looking for the design. So you send me the design you want, and we can change it however you want to. And that way it's like, we're gonna hit home the very first time. So I'll send them out to do the homework, bring back that art to me, and then you can, even if you're not capable, you can use the service, and you can say, hey, I need this design, but I need it to say this, and I need this color scheme change. You can have a very, very good brief to give to somebody that can do it, that won't cost you as much. And then you gotta treat it separately. So you have to treat art separately. You can decide if the order is big enough to waive the fee, if it's a big enough order, but you have to treat art separately. I think, what is that, out of Texas, with the Made Lab, Printed Threads. So they actually took their creative team and they gave it a completely different company.
Which
and-
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. But nonetheless, it's a good philosophy or, idea because we're here to print shirts and we make money off of shirts and they look at us like that. So it's kind of like they expect you to give them the artwork with the shirt. And, if it's taking you 3 or 4 hours and they're getting 1 or 5 shirts, it doesn't make a ton of sense in order to do that unless you're charging them. And you got to let them know that up front. So send them out to do the homework, get a good design brief from them, and try to get them to give you exactly what it is that they want, and then you go out and change it from there. That's kind of my advice.
Be worse than that. Actually, spend 3 or 4 hours. They don't want to pay for the T-shirt, and they want the art to put on a bunch of other stuff that they're not going to hire you to do. So you'll probably get faster at doing the art, and you'll get faster at figuring out who's some kind of jerk that you don't want to do it for.
Yeah, being able to identify those problems. What is the pit of customers, the pain in the ass customers? There you go. Any more questions?
Hi, me again. I have like a 2-parter this time. So first part is, how often do you guys connect with other entrepreneurs outside of the printing industry, and how valuable do you think, this is still the first part, how valuable do you think it is to connect with people outside of this specific industry? And then the other side of it is, we work for a Christian apparel company that is able to connect with other entrepreneurs that build kingdom businesses for the kingdom of God. And so, of course, the Word of God is our foundation, but everyone at the table is a different industry. So we have interior design, we have financing, we have future planning, we have food services. So we talk to other people about how we can give God glory through entrepreneurship, but then we also talk about how we can connect with other people. And I'm bringing that question back to you all because we also talk about how difficult it might be for entrepreneurs to leave their main job or leave their salary paid job and then start something completely different. And so my other question is coming from a place of, we are here to learn about printing and pressing and things of that nature, but I have yet to hear a conversation about like how do we give guidance to entrepreneurs that are leaving maybe a full-time position, and who do they talk to about, future planning or planning for retirement or having wife and kids and family? How do they plan for those experiences? So I wanted to ask you all if you had any resources or if you're in any groups or connected with, how do you even like have guidance on how to begin this journey, and then where does your support come from with, okay, like if I want to retire in 20 years from pressing, where do I even start with that? Finances, insurance, things like that. So, no, that was a lot, but thanks.
Well, thank you for giving me the next 40 shop talks that we're playing. Go ahead. We'll answer a couple, and I think
You guys can start.
That's a lot. So resources is one of those things where people have them, and sharing it sometimes is easier said than done. It's like kind of one of those things. When it comes to quitting your job, the answer is never. It's when it makes sense. That's the biggest thing. I didn't just quit my job and start working with him or anything. I made it make sense first, and then I quit. So the biggest thing is never quit your job, period, until it's time. When it's time, you as the individual will know. And in that process, you'll forever be learning. Everybody who owns a business and is successful in life has different forms of success in real estate, in whether someone is invested in stocks or whether someone just runs a business and has a 401k. So there's so many different ways for everybody to win that there's no right answer to that question other than providing the information and making it available. So that's where what we do within ourselves is we join Black Printer Network, or we join these events, and then we come and talk and let people hear what we went through, what we're going through, what we need help with, and we continue getting assistance. So that answer is like a broad answer because like what happens is there's no one right answer for everyone, because the goal is to be happy doing what you do, and that's really where you get your final answer. And then yes, finances play a role, family plays a role. Some people are overworking and missing their family. Some people are making the balance work and missing out on this event. So it's all about choice, and then whatever choice you make is the right choice for you. that's pretty much it. That's how I look at it.
I think you answered your own question too, because you're very inquisitive, and I think you have something to learn from everyone. And so whenever you encounter any kind of business person, if that's what you want to learn about, I have no doubt you're going to get some information.
I would say what I did was I would go and talk to certain people that were outside of my industry. So a real estate agent, they're dealing with certain stresses, right? They got to sell houses or they got to sell rentals. You got to ask them what was their experience? Like, what are the things that helped them get through that? You can go to somebody that's a bank teller. Everybody has their situation that you can learn from. So I think kind of what Marc was saying, it is a hard answer. Like, there's no right answer to it. It's really just soaking up people that have the knowledge. Peter back there has been doing his business for 30 plus years. I've known him since I started. You know what I'm saying? So just being around the people that are knowledgeable, they're experienced, they're seasoned, they've been through some struggles. And they'll know how to probably help you go through those struggles or have the answer for you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, and I guess we can put ourselves out there and say, if any of you guys have questions, send us an email at order@Villeside Customs and just write your question, and we'll get to it as soon as possible. It's a help.
So I guess to answer the first question about networking with other entrepreneurs, like myself personally, I think I'm an asset to all entrepreneurs, but again, people in business are going to be your potential customer. So if you connect with other industries, that could be your niche. So if you're around a bunch of entrepreneurs and they're starting businesses, they're going to need merch, they're going to need printed goods, they're going to need things to actually promote their business. So in that situation, you should do that as much as you possibly can, become a part of those networks. And there isn't a right answer to quitting your job. I think a lot of people ask me this question, and the first thing I say is, you got to go through a full season. Sometimes a full year, because you're going to figure out when the slow times are. I wouldn't even consider it before I've actually given it a good year, because throughout that year, you're going to see when things are slower for yourself or longer or higher, whatever the case is. But I say you got to follow the money. You follow the numbers. So if you work in a full-time job, and I just say making $60,000 a year, and you're able to do a side hustle and get up to $40,000, it may be a good chance to look at the numbers and say, well, if I'm spending 3 hours a day versus 8 hours in this side hustle, and I'm making this amount. When I do leave my job, if I dedicated that time, would I be able to make up the difference in that revenue? So it's kind of like one of those things where you follow the numbers and do what makes sense in that instance. I had a conversation actually yesterday with a big print shop owner. He's like, man, I'm feeling like this is as big as this thing can get for me. He's like, I might as well go work at one of the big print shops, get rid of this thing, because everything you just talked about, the 401ks and all of the things that he has an opportunity to do, he's like, I got to figure this out with my wife, and we're trying to figure out how to pay this and get this insurance and do all of that kind of stuff. And he's like, I could go work over here and not have to worry about this. He's like, well, who's going to buy this business in 20 years? Who's going to buy my print shop with my old equipment 15, 20 years from now? So what does retirement really look like? So the answer to those questions are in the rooms that we talked about, that's like where you go network, and when you sit down, what types of questions are you asking these people? And we literally were just having this conversation this weekend, and I'm being you in that instance, like, why, what are you considering that? Because how they see the future in this industry is also how I'm trying to take that in and make my assessment. Maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I should pivot in this direction, because he's like, man, he's a full-blown screen printer. Like, man, DTF is just killed it. It's like nobody cares about the quality, and then you got these arguments on the internet. It's like, screen print is the greatest thing ever. But those are the lovers of this side of the industry. So being a part of those conversations and then taking that information in and trying to come up with your own assessment of it as well.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here. You guys can hang around for a few minutes, yeah? So if anyone else has questions, Marc and Jabir will be around. And Stan, how about a hand for Jabir and Marc and Stan here, huh? All right, thanks for coming. Check out our YouTube channel. This will be eventually up there, in kitchen.com as well. And thanks to our sponsors, and thank you for coming.